All right, so welcome to another episode of the Financial Intelligence Mindset Podcast, and we try to bring you different guests with different backgrounds all the time to share knowledge on their finance and business journey. And today I have a young man actually with me, and originally from Ghana, or that's his background anyway, and he's from a sports background. And he also then moved into entrepreneurial, different kind of businesses. He tried different businesses, and right now he's the founder of Clijé, premium non-alcoholic drinks. So quite interesting young man. And welcome to the show, Simon. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your backstory.
Hi, Ray. Nice to meet you. Nice to have the chat. Pleasure to be on. So the backstory from where it all began, as you mentioned, started off as in my teens in a sporting kind of background, playing semi-professional football. And I guess that's one of the ingredients to get me to where I am now. Kind of went well. I wasn't Messi or Ronaldo, but kind of still at a good level, learning the trade. From there, went into entrepreneurship in the music industry. So I had my own music studio.
Wow.
Yeah, so totally different. But as you'll see from the story, it kind of all these different flavors come together to kind of give you the experience. From there, I went into events, which kind of comes to where we are at the moment. So kind of putting on our own events, dry hire events, club events, day party events in London.
Wow.
So a lot of going on, a lot of different jumping and changing and trying to find what was best suited for, I guess, my skill set and what I was good at. So while I was doing events, I was kind of learning a bit more the creative side and marketing and branding. So currently I do branding consultancy for other business owners and stuff, which leads to now where I have my own drinks company, as you mentioned, called Clijé, which is a non-alcoholic premium brand, predominantly doing mixes for alcohols, cocktail, mocktails, which can also be drank on its own. And also the reasons for the brand is with the different flavors from the different businesses and the sports background kind of incorporated into one.
Wow. Man, I'm so proud of you, I was talking to you. You remind me of my son, actually. He's actually 22. And he went to university. He did his just graduated this year in law and politics. But he said, nah, Dad, I don't want to do a corporate job. We have to spend 70 hours a week working in any company. So he's kind of done some bit of marketing. He's actually doing music production now and stuff. I must try and link you up with him. You know what I mean? Because like you could be a mentor for him. Because he's like you're a few years ahead than him. But it's always good to link you up with him. So really, really great to have you on. And sharing like your journey, right? Because oftentimes, when you're a youngster, I guess it's either sports or normally it's the corporate life. So first question I kind of have for you is that, like, at what point did you think, okay, let me try the business world? Is that something that you learned from school, or is this something that you sort of saw in your family member? I mean, what was the kind of the driver that made you think, let me go into different businesses?
I think for most people, it's kind of a trial and error kind of thing. You kind of find your way and you kind of know what you don't like to find out what you do like.
Okay.
So for me, I used to love football when I was single digit age. So it was automatically I was going to play football. When I finished college, in college I did business and I did media. So obviously the business side kind of touching on what goes on in that world, and the media was more catering to my creative side. Where that kind of goes into marketing and branding, which you kind of need to kind of show consumers things from a different kind of angle and get them intrigued in things. I knew that I didn't want to go to university, but I wasn't sure still what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a little gap and found interesting, I guess, in music. We're kind of probably around the same age that your son did. And kind of, I guess when you haven't gone to university or been in courses with business people, you kind of are naive to what it takes, in a good way, to what it takes to start a business. So you kind of just go in and you kind of just learn as you're going along.
Yes.
And you kind of figure it out and you get a different kind of experience.
Of course.
Yeah. So I kind of knew what I didn't want to do, kind of from
A young
thinking
age.
about corporate side. Yeah, from a young age, and kind of just getting experience from trying things out and not being afraid to say, okay, I've tried it out. I made a mistake here, but learning from the mistake and just all obstacles, finding a way to get over them and kind of just keep on doing what you want to do, basically.
I got it. So did you have any pressure from like your parents or anyone? Because normally I'm just saying, like, I know it's especially in African family as well, or Indian families and Caribbean families as well, people think, okay, go to school, get a good education, get a job. And oftentimes, like, if I'm trying to be entrepreneurial, it goes like, what's this about? When are you gonna start making some money? So like, did you have any pressure from anyone, say, to continue on with your education?
I think I'm the youngest of three, so I'm the baby of the family. So
All right.
and both my siblings, they're scholars. They went to uni, in good careers and stuff. But I think with my personality and my mom, she kind of knew I was a bit different. And I'm one of those people where if you push me to do something that I'm not going to do, I don't want to do, it's going to go the opposite way.
I understand.
So yeah, so she was more on the stance of, if you're not going to do that, then find something you do and actually do it. So
I got it.
I guess she can. Yeah. So I guess seeing the passion that I would have for things that I wanted to do without her understanding them, it was still something that it was supported. So I was kind of fortunate because, like you said, not all African families are like that. It's either one or two.
Yeah, so you kind of had support from your mom. So going into, so obviously, so you were in sports, and again, sports is something that a lot of young men, I mean, I actually have to my two sons, they were like, they like football, and there's like, I want to be a footballer. And I had to mentor them that, look, the way it works in England is that once you get to like, 18 years or so, if you don't get selected for one of those big companies, even if you get selected and you want one of those big companies, when you get to like 18, so they can actually drop you off. You know what I mean? They can drop you if you're not at that 1% or that 5% level where they want to be. You know what I mean? So at what time did you decide, football is not for me? Was it your choice, or was it just you not like, being selected or not hitting the mark?
I guess for me, because I kind of got to a semi-pro level just before 18, so just after school, and for me it was more of a thing where I was more talented than hardworking at the time. And as you know, like similar to business, it's not always talent, it's the hard work. Someone could be 10 times less talented than you, but if they're putting in the work, they're going to get further than you.
That's true. Yeah, of course.
So I guess when I got to like the ages of 18, similar to your sons, I was kind of plodding along, but kind of losing kind of interest in it, because accountability, I wasn't really putting in the work to be moving, progressing.
Understand. Yes.
But and things are not working, so you kind of lose the kind of passion for it, and you kind of get to the age where, okay, cool. I've lived in London, like you said. The amount of people that make it in that 1%, the market is so small. Unless you're already there by 18, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get to the pinnacle of the sport. So
correct.
You kind of look to see, okay, where can I now enter and be able to climb to the top of the ladder. In business, there's no age. You can start a business at 15, 25.
Of course. Any age. I mean, any age. Yeah.
Literally. So I guess businesses was a way for me to still find something I was passionate about and still be able to reach the top on my own accord and on my own back.
I got it. So let's talk about business now. So you're going into business now. Yes, you did some business at college level. Now you're in business. Now you got to manage a business. Let's talk about, how did you finance the business? I mean, how did you? Because obviously you haven't been making us some money. So how did you raise money or finance to say run the business?
I'm working part-time. I remember the first business, the music studio I had it with a friend. So we both was interested in that. So we just saved up kind of our own kind of networks. We had clientele already. So as soon as it was running, we had people that we knew that we were able to fund it. Not to say that our profit was going to be like 400x or something straight away, but we was breaking even and we enjoyed it. So at the time, it wasn't a case of we've got goals, revenue to hit, but kind of just learning what it takes to run a business and learning on the job. Yeah,
I got it. And for those people who are listening, there are actually 3 ways to actually start a business, right? One is called bootstrapping, where you actually use your own money to start a business, or you can use debt capital, where you borrow a loan, or you can use equity capital, where you get people to come in. So I guess you had a bit of bootstrapping, but then you kind of had a joint venture almost initially in your first business, right?
Exactly.
So you actually joined the force with someone. So now you're in the business business has started, business is going, first business that actually broken even. What are some of the early lessons that you learned from business? If anyone is listening to this and they're just thinking about starting a business in the early 20s, or maybe they're much later on, what are some of the lessons that you have learned from running a business that if you had to start over, you would do things differently?
The first thing I'll say is have a plan. Have a detailed plan of where you want the business to go and what steps you're going to do to get the business to get there. Have a plan and prepare. Those are the two most important things I think to start, because you'll go into industry or you'll start a business. Often people will start a business because they might have a passion for it.
Yeah.
And they've not actually looked at what the ins and outs of keeping the business running. Because once the fun and games is over, there's things to pay for, there's people to speak to, there's for our example, there's equipment that needs to be checked and things. So there's so many things that you're not thinking about or where you want to go, and then you're just kind of in the whirlwind of things, and you're just kind of playing the fence and kind of counter-attacking when things are coming at you, instead of leading with a goal in mind and walking in where you want it to go.
I like it. I like what you said, because I actually teach, I coach and mentor people how to do businesses. I think, and I actually said in my story, I started the business at 10. I know it's really early. I started making confectionery and selling at school, literally. Like, fudge, sugar cake and stuff. All through my secondary school, I sold stuff in the school as well. To me, that's actually business, right? And now I coach people. I actually have a blueprint. The first module is called the Real Reason Roadmap, and it got like 7 M's. And the first M is obviously mindset. You got to have the right mindset, but then you got to have a mission and a vision for what you want to do. So which is where you should have a plan, right? And then you're going to have the right model, the right marketing strategy, and you also have to have a map. I call it a map, a massive action plan. Because when you're going into business, you effectively, you have your mission, that's what you're doing right now. You have your vision, that's where you want to get to, but you must actually map it out so you know, right, even ahead, before you hit the bumps, before you hit the hurdles, what you go, what you're actually going to do. So that's really, really great of you. So wow. So your first business, did it work out? Like, did it sink? I mean, how did you go from first to second business? What actually happened?
It kind of platooned because, like you said, we didn't have our roadmap. We kind of went into it because we liked what we was doing. And another point to tell on the point that you made about the map, your why for starting a business is important, because
Correct.
If you don't have your why and your vision set out in concrete and stone at the beginning, when things start to happen, you start to drift off from why you're starting and what's going to propel you in the direction you want to go. So I guess once we didn't have our why as strong at the beginning. So once things started getting difficult, or we kind of lost passion for it, we didn't have what we needed to stay on course and to continue on the roadmap, which we didn't have. We was basically freestyling.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing you say that, because in the same module it says it's one of 5 modules called the Real Reason Roadmap. So when you're doing a business, you have to have a real reason for doing it, because it's going to get tough. And
it's like I've read the book. I haven't even read it.
No. It's not a book actually. It's actually my blueprint. It's called a Profitable Business Blueprint. Okay. And I do coaching programs. I help people one-on-one as well, just to be more successful, in running the business. And effectively, you have to have. I always say the bigger your drive, the bigger your why, the bigger your drive. So if you have a really big vision and there's a big gap between where you are and where you want to go, you have to drive hard to get there. It's just common sense, right? If you're going on a long journey, and you are, and you're still at base, you have to press on the X. You have to move. You have to make progress, else you're not going to hit your goals. So that's really, really good. So you took your lessons from the first business. Now you're into your second business, right?
Yeah.
Now, how did you decide? How did you take the lessons learned and apply it to the second business?
A bit more preparation, a bit more understanding that it's not just you set up the business, you're open for business, and things just go swimmingly. You kind of are more alluded to the obstacles that are going to come naturally with every business, and kind of getting a bit more thicker skin. Okay, this is going to come and I'm ready to solve the problem, instead of this is a problem, what we're going to do, kind of thing. So your business acumen kind of grows, and you kind of are a bit more skilled in working out whatever comes to you in whatever business, in every business that happens. So in regards to the second business, it kind of was more that, again, it comes back to the why. It was a bit more monetary kind of business for me at the time. And I'm more of a person, which I understand now. Obviously the money is great. When you own a business, the potential for whatever X amount you want to get is in your hands. But I kind of found out later that I kind of need creative businesses and things where I can kind of put my passion into. Otherwise,
yes.
Otherwise it's not going to sustain. I'm not going to be able to sustain it. I'm not going to get the drive that you have every morning or every day to want to go and push even further when the hurdles come. So your second business, you kind of lose love for it. You kind of, your head starts to sway. And for me, I kind of, when you get that gut feeling, you kind of know, like, do I really want to be doing this for X
First,
amount of years?
yeah. So it wasn't really a passion then.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a passion. Right. So now you're in your third business now, right? So I mean, so from a financial point of view, I guess, so you run one business, like you run a second business. Now you're going into the third business. So what are some of the kind of, if you want to call it, financial lessons that you've learned from these first two businesses from a financial perspective?
Budget.
For
me, I would, on the creative side, you always want to do things extraordinary. You always want to leave an impression on people, and to do that, it's not going to be cheap. So you have your set amount, and then I want to do this because I know it's going to have this kind of impact on the consumer. And you wasn't thinking about what's the budget going to be, what's going to be left after you do this. Is this going to be something that's marketing, or are you trying to get a return or ROI on this? Often with marketing, there's no metrics for some things you do. It's not going to exactly bring you back money straight away, but in the long run, if you're creating a brand, for example, it's going to benefit you down the road. So for the third business, which was events, which kind of leads on to the business I am now, kind of getting a bit more understanding of that. Certain budgets would be for marketing, which is going to benefit the brand, and certain things you wanted a ROI and whatever amount of time that is going to be.
Yeah.
And kind of learning the difference between a brand and a business. Of course, they have overlapping elements, but creating a brand and creating a business, I feel, two very different things.
I agree. Obviously, a business is just a way of making money, right? So a business is like you have something. Basically, a business to me is like you find the customer need, you understand the need, and you meet their need, and you get money. But sometimes you can actually build a business and don't have a brand. You know what I mean? A brand is who is behind the business, or what is the personality behind the business. So you were right. And I hear what you said about budgeting, because actually I went to a Facebook Live today, I think, and I was actually thinking about this, what I call the ABC of, say, financial intelligence, or the ABC of running a business. I think A is obviously accounting, just understand some basic accounting. B is obviously budgeting, and C is cash flow management. It's kind of the same, but it's not the same, right? Cash flow management versus budgeting. So you said budgeting is so fundamental, even for a business owner. I agree, because you want to know, can we afford it? Can we do it? Is it planned? Going back to what you said, a plan. And a budget is effectively a financial plan. So man, you've hit some gems there. So now so the first, second, third business, which of the three was most profitable, if any of them?
The events business, which was the third business, so the previous business, which kind of is still happening with the business I have now.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of, I think as well, business is a lot of, you can learn, you can listen to a lot of things, you can read a lot of things, you can do a lot of courses, but the value you get from experiences is priceless. So all the knockbacks you'll get in your business life, if you use them correctly and take them forward, what you'll learn is, you couldn't put a price on it. So learning from the mistakes of the previous businesses, you get more confident as well. The more confident you are, you're able to do more. You're able to maneuver and see opportunities and know that you're able to take these opportunities and make the most of those opportunities, which we kind of went into the third business, which was events, and kind of being more relaxed. And I guess if you're trying to be creative in creating a brand, the more relaxed you are, the more in your element you feel, you're able to use that creative mind. So that's what kind of led to the business I have now of creating a mixer business, a premium mixer business. As in, the events were great. We really wanted to try do unique kind of stuff with each event. So leaving an impact on consumers again, and realizing when we was putting on our events, we was able to get the good alcohols, the good decor, but there wasn't a mass amount of mixers that were available. So we would always the whole area would now say, someone go to the corner shop and just get any juice or something. It kind of didn't fit the feeling that I wanted to present to people. So I guess it goes back to the point of looking into the market, preparing and seeing, okay, cool, there is actually a bit of a gap in this market, and there's a niche and something that I'm able to put my creative side into it, know the business side of it, and to be able to actually create something that's lasting and a brand that I would be passionate about, and go back and be able to implement my sports background. So it's a drink that's also healthy. So everything, all of the life experience over the years, kind of putting myself into it and creating something that will be able to connect with so many people, as well as all their stories will probably have overlining similarities.
Wow, wow, man, you dropped some really good gems there, man. And I'm sure, because the first thing, the big gem that you drop, which is not more like a fact, you would learn more about running a business from being in business, as opposed to being on a business course, And oftentimes, the fact that you've run 3 businesses and knowing your 4th business, that's equivalent to actually doing an MBA, because, because the marketing and stuff is firsthand. The financial stuff is firsthand. Managing the operations is firsthand. You know what I mean? Like dealing with people and leadership is firsthand. So you, although like you're at age 30 now, and you've done 3 successful business, or on your 4th business, that is the equivalent to going to university, I'm telling you, and doing a master's degree in business. And even people who do a master's degree in business, if they haven't done any practical business, they will still fall short, because they just haven't done it. All they have is theory, and theory don't always work in a practical world. You know what I mean? So very, very well done to you, man. I accommodate you, for like what you've said. You know what I mean? I applaud you, I should say, for what you have really done. That's really great. And so now you're in your 4th business, which is the drinks business. And you said you found that a gap in the market, right? Because when you were doing your events business, you find that there weren't good mixers. So now you said, wow, we have all this alcohol, but not good mixers. So now you come up with a brand called Clijé, which is completely non-alcoholic drinks. Wow. And in terms of the demand for those drinks outside of an event, I mean, let's talk to us about the Clijé business, and how is that going? Maybe give us some KPIs, I don't know, or some numbers, if you can, just put it in perspective. Like how has it grown over time?
Yeah, so Clijé, so the basis of Clijé is just to provide more. It's more than a drinks business. So for us, the brand is more about adding another element to enjoyable experiences. So
okay,
whether that's at home, on your own, with your family, with a partner, you go out somewhere, there's always drinks in these kind of occasions where people are enjoying, whether it's a wedding, for example.
Of course, yeah.
So basically just adding another element to those kind of experiences that feel on par to this experience, like it's not out of place. So that's why, like I said, I created the brand. And the brand is the brand has grown. Like I said before, the metrics of building a brand and a business is not the same thing. Yeah. So we know that the brand has grown even during the pandemic, where a lot of our customers, as it's B2B, also have been closed. But the things that we've able to do online, and people just being more aware of the brand, and being able to interact in online and e-commerce has been like exponential, more than I could have imagined. In our first year, we won most innovative drinks award by Prestige Awards. So it kind of ties in with what the idea and the vision of the brand was. Good press from some high established names. So it's on course to our why, as we mentioned before. So we know that it's going in the right direction. And yeah, the drink, the actual product. So that's the brand. The actual product, as you said, where would people might want to experience a drink? It's a mixer. So people trends. People are really into as lockdown's kind of easing here. People are really back out to going out and enjoying themselves. So bars, restaurants, people making the most of their home space and kind of making their own thing. So it's a thing where we're able to try and accommodate and help that people get that feeling that they're trying to create in whatever spaces they're at. Leading back to my sports background, where you're trying to be as healthy as possible. Obviously, there's a lot of times where you eat or you drink things impulsively. Whatever the scenario. Yeah. So it's like, if you have a great brand, a great mixer brand, people are not thinking, this might not be in cohesive with my lifestyle. It might, but I'm just gonna have it. But so people are more comfortable. Okay, cool. It's a nice premium brand. I like the brand, but it's also healthy. It's keeping in with my lifestyle.
Of course.
So kind of catering to those kind of people, that audience. And the reception's kind of exactly what we wanted people to know, that, oh yeah, it's kind of like oh yeah, you're right. Like you just kind of mentioned when I told you about the brand, there isn't that many mixers dominating or as well known
Of course
around. So
not.
kind
No,
of,
of course not.
yeah,
Not. There ain't much non-alcoholic drinks. That's yeah. I mean, there's juices and stuff,
there'll
but
always be drinks, but you wouldn't get a dominant name like you might get in other alcohols or soft
no.
drinks and stuff. Yeah.
Correct. So what's in the product? Or what makes? I mean, you're big on branding.
Yeah.
So what? Let's talk about the brand personality of Clijé. What makes it different? Or when someone thinks of Clijé as a brand, what are something that you want them to say, or what are something that they're actually saying about the brand? Yeah.
So the brand, when people think Clijé, as our strapline is tailor made. So tailoring is something that feels personal to everyone.
Yeah.
And the basis of the drink is that it accommodates to everyone's kind of palate. So whatever your alcohol is, it can accommodate to that. So even if you don't drink, and you might feel like you want to drink that's a bit more premium when you go out, it's able to cater to you or at home or whatever. So the ingredients in Clijé is an original blend of fruits and stevia. So it's really important for us that the ingredients, that the flavor is original, because the whole basis of Clijé is original.
Yeah.
So we developed the flavor in a flavor house in the UK.
Yeah.
Did a few tests and events, got to where we got it now, and it kind of, when it's a very tangible product. So if someone tastes a drink and they like it, you can see straight away they like it. If they don't like it,
I got it.
So it's kind of a way that we're able to see what the market says when people have tested it. So that the flavor is an original flavor. I guess that kind of makes us stand out from the other drinks that have traditional flavors but just done in their own kind of way. And our sweetener is stevia, which is an alternative to sugar. So people that don't know what stevia is, you know, I'll just say, for people that don't know, it's a no calorie.
Yeah. I know, because I live a kind of if you want to call it a plant-based diet. So most of what I use is like is plant-based. You know what I mean? I use alternative to sugar. Obviously, sugar came from a plant, but you get sugar from all different things, from fruits and all that kind of stuff. So I quite like that about the sweetener. And you say it's tailor-made. So do you have just one flavor, or you have different flavors? Or what makes it tailor-made?
So yeah, it's one original flavor, but it works with dark and light spirits and
different drink as a mixer. I understand.
As a mixer, yeah. So I guess if you're mixing with dark spirits, you often have one kind of mixer that wouldn't work with light spirits or something like that.
Yeah, I understand.
But, yeah.
So it's me as a mixer. I got it. So is it, in terms of the value chain or the production for that product, is it all UK based, like or do you get some of the stuff from say you import some stuff? I mean, is the drinks and everything made in the UK?
All made in the UK. We have our packaging shipped in from Asia.
Yeah.
But all made in the UK. The ingredients shipped in, mixed in the flavor house, bottled in the UK, labels in the UK. The testing was done in the UK. So yeah.
I understand.
All at home.
So just the packaging that comes in from Asia, but the actual drinks itself is from the UK. Cool.
Yeah.
And what's your vision for the brand?
As I mentioned, I feel like the brand, it will create in a brand, will grow in a brand, not a business. So the vision for the brand is that the ideology of what Clijé stands for. When people think of Clijé, is not to just think of a mixer or a drink, it's to think of Clijé's adding something to an occasion, to a feeling of your own personal likes and your personal taste on things. It's there to help you and add value to whatever you're trying to do. So I feel it's a global kind of vision. It's one that I guess people can connect with in all walks of life. Whether that's been you have indulgent moments that you want to enjoy, or if you just want to try to be healthier or just have something nice.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that everyone can connect with.
I got it. So where can people, if someone is listening to this and think, wow, that song's so good, man, this Clijé song's so good. I know it's bigger than a drink, but currently it's a drink at the moment. And they have an event and they want to order it. I mean, where can they order it? I mean, where can they get some more information on it? You got a website, you got Instagram?
Our website is www.clijé.co.uk. That's CLIJE. Our Instagram is Clijé_CLIJE again. Same with our Facebook. We sell on Amazon as well.
Wow.
So if you just write Clijé in Amazon, it will come up. You can either send us an email, info@clijé.co.uk, and if it's got a more bespoke kind of order, we'll definitely be able to help. So there's a few places, yeah.
So it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Wow. So do you feel like that's the business that you are most passionate about, or you feel like you might go into another business?
Definitely, like you mentioned, it's a combination of the past businesses.
Yeah.
And a way that I'm able to have my marketing and creative side and be able to put my passion into a business. So definitely, like I said, the vision's global. So it's not a business that's going to be here just a few years and make my exit. We're here for the long run. And of course, I think like you, I'm someone that likes to do other things on the side. So I've like I said, I do branding for other people. I'm into the media and things that I've done in college. So always going to tap into other things. Even I do part-time modeling. So you're always going to do little other things where you can even get experience from other industries that are completely different. Yeah. And I guess what you find there, you can kind of pull it back into your main focus. So Clijé will be here for a while.
All right, cool. All right. So this podcast is called Financial Intelligence Mindset, right? And the reason why I call it that is that for people like you or business owners, is to manage your business with finance in mind. I mean, how much of a financial knowledge would you say is required to run a business like yours? And
That's very important.
Yeah. And how involved were you in the numbers, in the financial side of the business?
It's very important. You without knowing the finances, the business is not going to run. It's just not going to run. You have to be on top of everything. If that's not you, you should get someone who's more versed at knowing the numbers to look over things, because before you know it, in business, once what you think is a small mistake can end up a big mistake just by not understanding certain numbers, and that could set you back or even end your business. So it's good to be able to even plan and forecast to see how you want to grow the business, what you're able to do in that period of time as well. Me personally, as I founded the business and I kind of started it off from scratch, bootstrapping it, and then getting some investment, I had to learn on the job. I didn't have an accounting background. I'm okay with numbers. I'm not doing algebra. But
I understand. Yeah.
But I know numbers and I could work out things. And it's the same thing. Like if you, like I think I mentioned it before somewhere else. If you don't know things, today it's so easy to learn something. I could not know, for example, how to do my taxes, but I can go on YouTube or Google and find out how to do things on a basic level, which you wouldn't want to do that in the long run, but at that moment in time, if you're starting out or something, you could get things done yourself. So there's a lot of things that you could just, if you want to put the time in and work in, you could just figure it out. I think I'm quite young, but I'm sure definitely a few decades ago, to be able to just learn this kind of information, it wasn't there. So.
Correct. I agree, man. I mean, the internet is like, literally, internet as we know it, I mean, it's probably like less than like 30 years old, you know what I mean? Like in terms of as we know the internet now. So or around 30 years old. So you're right. 30 years ago, you couldn't get information readily. So you're right. So what are some of the key sort of, you want to call it KPIs or the key numbers that if you have to look at your business that you would want to know about? What's some of the key numbers that you might want to know about?
You want to know your margins. I think before I go into the numbers, I think depending on what you're trying to do, I think percentages and margins are more important than numbers.
Yes.
Because for example, you might make $1 million turnover, but if the costs are 950,000, you've only made 50 grand. But if your profit margin is 40% or something, and you're looking at percentages, you might have made 500,000, but that 40% is bigger. So it's good to understand percentages and margins and what your target is as well, because it might not be even important for you to make that much margin in the first couple of years, because your projection on the following years are more important. So I guess knowing percentages, if we're going back to actual numbers, as you mentioned, know know what your profits are and your expenses are. Know your costs. If you're doing a product, know your costs for doing a service. Know your overheads. Know what's, I guess, if you have things coming out, when they're coming out and what it's going to affect. And what we mentioned before, know your budgets. So you can plan. If you know this, you can plan better and be able to move forward better.
Man, I'm really proud of you. You know what I mean? Because and it's just, I mean, you look like you're a testimony to this. Like when I do podcast, I never asked people questions beforehand. I never give them questions beforehand. I myself don't have a script. This is a conversation, and you come on here, and it's funny because currently I'm actually I'm currently a consultant for a big company, a multi-million company here in the Caribbean, and I've literally taken the numbers and put it into percentages. And I told them to think of the numbers in percentages. Think of your gross profit margin. Think of your your percentage cost of goods sold or cost of services. Think of your net profit. Just think of your expenses ratio, because it doesn't matter what the number is. If you want to get a 5% profit, that's what you want. And obviously, as you grow the top line, the revenue line, then the profit is bigger if it's 5%. But if you grow in the top line and the profit is small, it's no good, right? I mean, it's no good in increasing revenue and having a bigger expense ratio, because obviously the expense ratio is the expenses as the proportion of sales. So as you grow in the top line, you want to kind of keep the expenses, the ratio the same. So these are some really key stuff. I really like what you said, man. That's some really big gems, manage your financials on percentages rather than absolute numbers. So which brings me on to the question I always ask people. And I know that you probably heard it anyway on one of the podcasts that you listen to. What does financial intelligence means to you?
No, financial intelligence. I would say financial intelligence is knowing what numbers mean and knowing what to do with the numbers. So if you have, let's say, for example, you had £100 or $100 or whatever, knowing what to do with that £100, you're not going to overspend with that £100. Knowing that you could spend maybe £50 because on a bigger scale that £50 that you're spending is going to bring a ROI of X amount, which doesn't damage the business, but able to grow. So maybe that £100 with your financial intelligence is gonna multiply. So I think kind of having knowledge and having the wisdom to do what needs to be done and avoiding the mistakes if you don't have the intelligence.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Serious is because financial intelligence obviously understanding the numbers and making decisions that's going to result in a favorable outcome, as opposed to not knowing the numbers. So that's really, 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 really big. So Simon, so we kind of come into the end. I mean, you dropped some really, really good gems on here. I mean, so in terms of like you, I mean, what are some of the things that you would say as a business person in terms of the way you manage your time? Because time is a great resource, right? Some people say time is more valuable than money. So if you want to just give some general tips, as I said, for someone going into business, managing their time, managing their resources, I mean, how do you go about your ordinary day in terms of as a business owner?
I think having a schedule that works well with your lifestyle. So everyone does see people talking about they might do 60-hour, 70-hour weeks, or some people don't work on the weekends, or some people wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Because they do it, it doesn't automatically mean that you should do it or it's going to benefit you. So if you have a schedule and you know what you kind of need for your personal life, within that schedule, figure out what you can do in your business life. So if it means for you, for example, you wake up at 9 o'clock, but for the next 3 hours, you're all in on work and you take a break for 2 hours and then you're back all in work. If it's 6 hours of hard, intense work that is focused, it might even be better than someone that's doing a whole day of work where they're in and out. So know what kind of your capacity for work is. Kind of schedule things, like break up your days, break up your weeks, break up your months. What am I going to dedicate to marketing? What am I going to dedicate to sales? What am I going to dedicate to growing the brand or the business? What am I going to dedicate to self-development? and kind of just spread it out and kind of see what you want to dedicate to each section, as all of them is important. But without the planning, again, which you mentioned, I don't know how many times we've said it, and the schedule, you're kind of just in the wind. You're just kind of going with whatever comes.
Sailing with no direction. You're sailing with no direction. I mean, basically, like what you're saying, right? I talk a lot about the map, but you also need a compass. You know what I mean? So the compass is like, this is the direction we are going. And as a sailor or someone on a journey, you have to know when are we going to take a break? You know, where will we stop? Where would we this? You know? And so you're right. I mean, scheduling. I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, right? But I used to more so. And people like Tony Robbins, etc. They would say, if you want to get it done, schedule it. You know, if it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. So like, for example, like this podcast, I schedule it, you know what I mean? You know, or already had a meeting this morning with a big client, I schedule it, you know? After I finish here, I'm going to go and see another client, I schedule it. You have to schedule everything so you know, okay, right, this is, as you said, you plan your day around your lifestyle. So myself, I actually created a lifestyle business, you know, whereby I have X amount of free time. No, obviously I'm in the Caribbean now, so I can plan even when I go to the beach. I know it sounds crazy, but you're planning your lifestyle around your business. So that way, you know, you kind of have everything scheduled, and that way it works really, really well. So Simon, look, you dropped some really good gems here, and you also help people with branding and marketing and all that kind of stuff. If someone wants to get in touch with you, because they go, this guy, I just want to talk to him, where can they find you? I mean, how is it best to contact you?
You can contact me on LinkedIn, Simon Yemoh, Simon normal spelling, SIMONYEMOH. Email simon@clijé.co.uk, Simon Yemoh on Facebook. It might say Sai Yemoh on Facebook, just a shorter name. On Instagram, Sai Yemoh. So yeah, all those spaces.
Sai Yemoh or Simon Yemoh. That's the man to speak. Simon, look, you know, like we obviously booked an hour for this, and we kind of come to the hour obviously of our meeting. We had a little chat before that, but I want to say a massive thank you for coming on, and a massive thank you for dropping some really, really great gems. I'm sure that the audience, people listening to this, will learn a lot from it. I want to wish you the best as well in your journey. So it's really been a pleasure to have you on here, and really a pleasure to speak with you. So thanks a lot.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
Cheers.